So up until recently, I had the dilemma of trying to get my Nintendo Switch with custom firmware to play PS1, GameCube, N64 games. And the biggest dilemma that I had there was A, it wasn't powerful enough, B, the amount of time investment to do it, and C, if you don't actually have the Nintendo Switch to begin with, the cost. So instead of trying to modify the console to play games, I decided to go a different route, which was considerably cheaper, and I already had the majority of that on hand. So to begin with, I had a Poco F3, which is an extremely cheap, cheap flagship. Granted, it's still around about a $450 Australian dollar phone, maybe about a $300 US phone. It's got one key feature. It's running a Snapdragon 870, and it's got 6 gig of RAM. Also, as a bonus, 120Hz display, and it's OLED. So essentially, you've got a brilliant display, you've got a powerful processor, you've got plenty of RAM, and you've got 128 gig of storage. So what do you do from there? You do what I did. I ended up purchasing a GameSir X2. Essentially from there, I can easily plug in, I do have a few issues with the Type-C connector on here, so I am getting a Bluetooth model down the line. And essentially, ta-da, you've got yourself almost a superior Nintendo Switch. From here, you're running Android, you can put RetroArch on there, you can put DuckStation on there, you can put any number of emulators on here, and away you go. You simply map out the keys to the game or to the emulator, and you've got a perfectly usable portable console. So considering the amount of time that I invested trying to get a Nintendo Switch to run PS1 games, and then essentially spent about probably 10 minutes putting them on here and installing the emulator and then just mapping it, and now away I go with any game I throw at it. Considering this can also emulate perfectly fine the majority of GameCube games, essentially you've got a considerable range of consoles to be able to play on here. So for example, I've played through Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on the GameCube on here, played a bit of Need for Speed Underground, Tony Hawk Underground, Metal Gear Solid 1, quite a few other different games that have been played on here. And considering that one of these devices you can pick up anywhere from about $60 up to around about $120, all talking Australian dollars there as well, it's a considerably cheaper Nintendo Switch, and you're going to be able to play more than the Nintendo Switch. And essentially, the faster that these phone processors get, they're going to eventually get to the point where you'll be able to emulate essentially 3DS at a reasonable rate. I believe with the GameSir they had some, I'm not sure how to describe it, but some dodgy emulator that was essentially trying to emulate GameCube or Nintendo Switch on the device. I haven't tried that myself, but I've heard various reports where some games are good, some games are terrible. But I'd say give it probably another 2-3 generations of Android phones and you'll be able to play Nintendo Switch games at a superior resolution and frame rate on your phone than on the Switch. So essentially, if you're after a budget machine to play pretty much any game you can get for phone, Android, and retro consoles, I'll definitely go towards the Poco F3. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.